How would you like to learn the secrets of two Karma Club Award winners on how they have built successful online businesses from almost nowhere to now running multiple 7 and 8 figure businesses by following the simple fundamentals of life? And let's see how they have used the powerful funnel systems, processes, automation, and social media to help their business grow at a different pace. Let's dive into their journey to grasp the strategy, mindset, action plan of how they have done it from almost nowhere to the way up to 7 figures. We are going to uncover and pick their brains of the top performing entrepreneurs on this show. How they have done it and how you can do it too. You are listening to the Nikhil Sai, the host, and welcome to the Nikhil Sai Show.
What's going on? What's going on? Everyone is actually listening to this podcast right now. First of all, guys, welcome to the Nikhil Sai Show, which is hosted by me, the Nikhil Sai. And guess what's going on today? We are back with another amazing two Karma Club interview. This is going to be crazy, guys. So make sure to stick around. You're gonna be so much inspired after you hear this entire story on how this dude is actually helping people make millions of dollars at the same time scaling his business through the roof. Like now we're talking about a person who is being into operations job, working 70 hours a week, struggling to have that freedom in his life. And then he started the freedom fighters movement, where there are thousands of people in this movement who are having success with this system. So let's not waste any time. This dude is very familiar in the ClickFunnels community. He is multiple 2CCX winner. He got so many 2Com Club awards. So let's not waste any time, and actually let's welcome Blake Nubar, CEO at blakenubar.com. Hey Blake.
What's up, man? Pleasure to be here. Pumped. And thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely, Blake. Thank you so much for making our time today, and congratulations on the recent event you had. And Blake, I'm pretty much excited. I think your story is so much inspiring, from actually being in a day job to being a service agency and now helping so many entrepreneurs to start and scale their own online business and become a freedom fighter. So can you please start with your backstory? Like, how did all of this crazy journey start?
Yeah, so I was working traditional 9 to 5. It was a fitness company. We were responsible for building. If you want to become a personal trainer, we create the certifications for it. So we're building this product, every day we're in there, 12 hours a day building this product. 9 months go by, we build this entire thing. We hand it over to the marketing department. They just could not sell it. Like, I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know funnels, sales messaging, offers, any of that crap. I didn't know anything, literally zero. And it just became frustrating. So, one day I went home staring at the ceiling fan, frustrated why we couldn't sell our products, because I thought the marketing department would know how to sell it, but unfortunately they didn't. But it was an opportunity in disguise, because it gave me the ability to kind of stumble upon this internet marketing stuff. Home one day, was on Facebook, ran across an ad from Russell Brunson, who I didn't know at the time was Russell Brunson. Really didn't know much about him. He launched a software called ClickFunnels probably a year before I found him. And it was basically this ad that caught my attention. And long story short, I was like, this is how we're going to sell our fitness products, is by using sales funnels. So I ran into the office. I pulled like an all-nighter, watched this, and ran into the office, started sketching out my first ever funnel. And the marketing department's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I think I know how we're going to sell this thing. We're going to use what's called a sales funnel. And no one really knew what a sales funnel was yet, but it was kind of like an opportunity to try a new strategy, a new tactic on how to sell what we, spent 9 months building. So built out this webinar funnel. I still at this time had no idea what I was doing. But we built out this webinar funnel, and I go to the marketing department. I say, hey, just launch ads to it. I'm going to handle the funnel side of things or whatever. And next thing you know, we have people showing up to this webinar. They register, they show up. We launch the offer, and no one bought. Not a single person purchased this entire thing. So I'm over here looking like an idiot now, because what I thought was going to work didn't work. And now we're kind of back at square one. So I remember I was so frustrated at that experience. I walked outside right after the webinar, kind of just brushed off some steam. And then I had this really, really pathetic idea. And I was like, let me walk back in and see if we got any sales. So I went over to my computer, I clicked on the refresh button, and sure enough, we made our first sale for $797 or whatever. And it blew my mind. Like this whole funnel stuff worked, right? Because the whole time I'm thinking it doesn't work really. We all become very skeptical when something doesn't go our way the first time. And what you quickly realize is that that's not how business works. You're going to fail your face off many times before you find your success. And it was at that moment I realized the power behind sales funnels. So I walked in the office the next day, I quit my job, and I ventured out on this opportunity to learn everything I could about marketing, science of selling stuff using the internet and sales funnels and offers and all this great stuff. And I never looked back. And that was kind of my my humble beginnings.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. Yeah, what an entire story. Absolutely. I think this is inspiring a lot of entrepreneurs who are actually starting with funnels in your business and you're getting stuck. You really need to admit the fact that you're going to face failure and you should be ready. You should be excited to fail and fail forward. Absolutely, Blake. Love it. And Blake, one of the things which you have really created a trend on is converting social media into sales funnels. And you've mastered the craft and you've been literally, I've seen over 100,000 people started to use profile funnels after you started speaking about this stuff. So we would love to learn more about like how to actually convert a social media into a funnel. Like how do you actually come up with that idea?
Yeah, I was out to dinner one day. I was with my girlfriend and we were sitting having dinner and I was on my phone, which she hates, but whatever. I was on my phone. I was browsing on social media and I remember sitting there and I was like clicking on someone's post because it caught my attention. And that was the moment at that very moment, I remember realizing to myself, like I do that all the time, right? I'm constantly on social media. I'm on Facebook particularly. And I'm clicking on people's profiles, like that have interesting posts that hit my wall. So I started thinking like, how many, if I'm doing this, right? Am I the only person on Facebook out of the 2 billion users that does this? And I started thinking like, maybe there's people clicking on my profile. Maybe there's people checking out my stuff. Well, at the time, my profile wasn't quote unquote optimized. It was just a normal cover photo. It was a normal profile picture. Everything was normal about it. There was nothing that really articulated what I did as an entrepreneur. So I had this idea and I ran an experiment and I basically transformed my social media profile, my Facebook profile in specific here, into a landing page or like a funnel, right? I changed the cover photo, I added buttons and links, and I basically hacked my entire social media account to look more like a landing page. So the second people would land on my page, they would instantly know A, who I was, B, what I stood for and what I was trying to do, and C, the products and services that I offered. And lo and behold, 9 days later, after transforming my social media profile, I generated $25,000 in sales for my products and services. And it blew my mind. I was like shocked, right? And that was kind of the beginning of it. I've been using it ever since because of the power of how many people, there's this hidden traffic source on Facebook that happens constantly. No one's really aware of it because you can't see it. You can't track it. It's just people that come and go, right? Traffic that just shows up. And people are really missing out by not having their profiles optimized to really kind of explain, articulate, and tell a story of who they are and what they're trying to accomplish as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely big. And I think that is really, really powerful. Like using this lucrative existing organic traffic and making money out of it. That's absolutely amazing. And Blake, one of the best part is like, I'm into your freedom fighters movement. Like I'm one of your partners when it comes to Blake Nubar's partner program. And one of the main things we stress out in the entire movement we're actually creating is launching imperfectly, because there are over 100,000 ClickFunnels users who procrastinate over having the perfect funnel, perfect webinar, perfect ads, and all of that stuff. So we would love to hear your take on the person who created the launching imperfectly movement. So how would you suggest entrepreneurs who are trying to launch their first funnel?
Yeah. So, we've been down this, I think entrepreneurs get kind of hung up on making sure everything's perfect. And it's kind of a reflection of them, of how they want to articulate themselves and present themselves in the eyes of the consumer, basically in the marketplace. And what happens a lot is entrepreneurs, right, when they're first trying something for the first time, there's all this fear that's occurring, right? You want something to be really good because you kind of want to be better than the competition, but at the same time that comes with a demise that is happening in the shadow, which is you're always trying to make things perfect. And what you realize is that when you're constantly trying to make things perfect, whether it's your product or your service or whatever it is, right? Things that probably really aren't that important, because in the beginning of any business, the only thing that matters is generating sales, nothing else, not support, not infrastructure, nothing matters but generating sales. But what happens is entrepreneurs focus so much on making sure their stuff's perfect that next thing you know, they don't launch, and B, if they do launch, they're months, weeks, months, if not, years behind, because they waited so long to get something out in the marketplace for whatever reason. Like I said, maybe they're fearful. They don't want to get criticized. They want it to be really good. And all they're doing is kind of, inhibiting the chances of them having success. So Launch Imperfectly was kind of born out of kind of what we went through, right? Like even as entrepreneurs, and you realize that if you launch something that you think is perfect, it means you waited too long to get it into the marketplace. And the most success, we've ever experienced and had was never based on launching something that was perfect. It was based on launching something that was completely imperfect. Maybe a button doesn't work. Maybe the design's not exactly what you want. Maybe the products aren't as good as you want them to be. It doesn't matter because the marketplace, honestly, they don't care as much as you think. They just want a painkiller to the pain they're experiencing. They want a solution to their problem. And even if it's not perfect, get it out in the marketplace as soon as possible, because you want the customer to tell you what to change and what to work on. It doesn't mean you take it in stride and take it into consideration. It doesn't mean you do exactly what the customer says. But when you have a product sitting behind closed doors or hiding under a rock, it does no one good. And you don't know what's going to happen with it. You're better off getting something in the marketplace that you probably hate when you launch it, and letting the marketplace kind of tell you the direction to kind of steer the ship. So launching imperfectly is a concept born out of the fact that if you're an entrepreneur and you find out that you're constantly working on something and you're not getting it out the door, there's this fear that's happening, right? And the best advice I can give anyone is just launch the thing that's imperfect. And I promise you're going to learn more from launching imperfectly than you would from thinking you launched something that was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And I believe a lot of entrepreneurs should admit the fact that first of all, they should start shouting about the product and services and get sales, and then they can figure out the rest of the part because they have the cash flow as they launch imperfectly. Absolutely,
Exactly.
Blake. Yeah, love that, love that. And Blake, you've been this crazy dude who actually hit the 2 Club one of the fastest way back then. So I'd love to hear the story. Like, how was the experience? Like the first and fastest 2 Club in just 43 days. So how did you do that?
Yeah, we actually did it fast. We actually broke that record. We're not keeping track anymore, but the fastest we did it was 25 days. We did a really explosive launch in Las Vegas, Nevada back in 2020. And from gearing up to this launch, it was a brand new product, brand new opportunity. The world's never seen it. Nothing like it still to this day because of how unique it really is. And we were fortunate enough to be able to build up a very aggressive and successful launch campaign, a pressure launch, as you'd call it. And January 16th of 2020, we were able to kind of release the valves of pressure and launch our brand new opportunity to the world. 25 days later, we generated $1 million in sales from it. So you get to see it's hard to you can show someone the end result. It's hard to show them the madness that goes into getting that end result. So, the world sees $1 million in 43 days or $1 million in 25 days. But what they don't see is what it really takes to get that. And that was the most fun we've ever had. It's also the most stressful situations you'll be in. It's the most bipolar your emotions will ever be, but it's also the thing that makes you feel alive. So it was a really unique launch we did in Las Vegas, brand new product, brand new opportunity, completely unique to anything ever seen before. And yeah, we were able to do $1 million in 25 days. So it was a truly unique and humbling experience.
Wow, that's awesome, Blake. And I think this is really to inspire people, to show the possibility that $1 million is not a dream income or a fund you need for the retirement. It's something you could achieve as quick in 25 days if you really have the value to put in the marketplace. Absolutely, yeah. Blake. Love it. Let's get to the next question, Blake. And I mean, like you've been into funnels so depth, like you understand funnels day in, day out, you know why they be successful, why they fail. So we'd love to hear, like, most probably people who launch their funnel for the first time, they absolutely fail. And that's good. Yeah. So can you tell us, like, why most funnel launches fail technically?
Yeah, I mean, it probably stems back to the stuff that everyone hates to do, which is market research. A lot of times people build products and services for themselves and not for an actual marketplace solving a problem. Most funnels fail for the fact that people are failing to understand the needs, the wants, and the desires of the market that they're going into. And honestly, they're not really solving a problem. They're just packaging some stuff up together because you think you're supposed to, and then you launch it and then it bombs. So I think a lot of people focus on the funnel first, which is actually the last piece of the puzzle. You should be focusing on the message and the offer, right? You should be focusing on answering one very specific question, which is, what is a pain I can kill from customers I want to deal with on a daily basis? And you really need to solve a problem. Most people don't solve problems anymore. They just launch like competitive products based around improvement offers that just sink, right? People think you need to get into software because everyone's doing it, and they launch stuff that no one wants. It comes down to the fact that you need to solve a truly unique problem for your market. and then learn how to get aggressively loud at getting people to hear about that problem. People can create an offer, they can create a message, they even get their funnel up, and then they realize they can't get people to view their stuff. They die on traffic. So I wish it was this like easy, if you get one thing right, you'll have success, but you have to get like 15 things correct to have a chance at success. And a funnel is just a piece of the pie. So if you're struggling right now, there's a good chance there's no product market fit. There's also a good chance you don't know how to get traffic, drive traffic for people to see it. But all in all, the numbers don't lie. I mean, you know you're having success based on conversion rates, based on some very simple data you can look at. But I would say, the number one reason most funnel launches fail is the fact that people are creating stuff that no one wants.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And when someone adds real value, which is demanding, I think it actually flows backward. You start collecting cash, then you invest in the right stuff, then you get the funnel live and all the stuff live. So I think that's the right flow. Like launching imperfectly is what it comes down to. So all the freedom fighters, you know what to do. Go launch imperfectly. Okay. So Blake, let's get to the next question. I mean, you've been an agency as well while you're actually building your own online products, and you've been helping people with organic traffic, building profile funnels, and you've been getting bigger clients, like clients who pay over 6 figures for your services. So we would love to learn more about like, how does that look like to acquiring enterprise level clients as a marketing agency?
Yeah. So when we started our marketing agency back in 2017, we closed the doors on it. We don't do it anymore. We just do our own stuff. But at the time when we were doing it, we didn't really have infrastructure like most agencies, right? Because we didn't want to go that route, but we did get to work with some of the most amazing entrepreneurs on this planet. And I would say a reason for that acquisition was never based on because we had a very refined sales process or any of that stuff, right? Like we didn't have phone closures. We didn't have like a book call funnel really. Like the reason I think we were able to acquire a lot of clients is people want to do business with people they like, period, hands down. Like even if someone offers a better product or solution, most people don't look at it objectively. Unfortunately, they look at it subjectively. And they want to work with people they like. So I think we had a really unique likability factor, but most importantly, beside that, I think the reason is because we were able to give success to the people we worked with. And when you're able to deliver true results to your clients, they talk about it, right? Like they literally spread that word. And it got to a point where we were fortunate enough to be able to take our skill sets and apply them to our clients, that everyone we worked with got really explosive results, that it got to a point where I was no longer reaching out to clients. People were calling us straight up through word of mouth. Like I was getting to work with some of the most amazing people on this planet because they hear of what you do for other people. So there's this philosophy I truly believe in. It's called go for wins, right? And a lot of times as agencies, you just keep thinking about how do I get more clients? How do I get 5 clients a week or 10 clients a week? Everywhere you look, someone's, preaching like, get more clients, get more clients. And we didn't really look at it like that. We looked at it as like, how can we like get big wins for our clients? And when you do that, more people want to work with you because at the end of the day, right? Like most things aren't as good as they seem, right? Like it's marketing, right? So everyone kind of like postures and peacocks a little bigger than usually what the results get. We didn't want to be like that.
Yeah.
We're just like, let's like really get killer results for clients. And that will be our marketing. And that's what exploded our agency at the time because people just kept talking about it. So we were able to acquire clients strictly based on I think people really enjoyed working with us. And they probably enjoyed working with us a lot for the simple fact that when you did, you got results. And like, I don't say that lightly. Like there's times where like, dude, our funnels fail all the time. Like it just happens. But when we worked with clients, we made sure that if you invested in us, it was a guarantee you were going to get a return on your investment, hands down. And that type of mentality spreads like wildfire, and people call you left and right to want to work with you after that.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And I think a lot of marketing agencies should really admit the fact that the 100% efforts they're putting into marketing and sales, if that goes into fulfillment and getting results to the clients, I think that's going to explode their agency by getting them better clients who can pay bigger amounts as we speak. That's awesome, Blake. Thank you so much for amazing advice. Blake, let's get to the next question. So like you get a lot of stuff done, like you do these launches, you help your clients, you have people networking with you, you make time for this podcast as well. So we would love to learn more about like what kind of tools do you use to manage your projects, clients for productivity?
Yeah, so we have a crazy tech stack. It's wild how much stuff we use. One thing specific we use for project management, we use Monday. We're very heavy into Monday. We use Trello. Monday, Trello are very effective project management tools. The best one we use for communication is Slack, hands down, game changer. And you kind of mix those three together and you get really effective ways of doing things, because Slack is great for communication, right? And it integrates well with everything. And then we use Monday for kind of project management, weekly meetings to see like the agenda, anything that kind of comes into what we call the loading dock, right? Like new opportunities come in every week. It's like the loading dock of like, you know, any type of warehouse. And then you kind of like distribute those items that come in based on the different departments that they should go to. And Monday does a really good job at doing that. Trello is really good for like, if we do any agile development, whether it's software or things like that, right? Like new anything, right? It just keeps us in line. But all in all, those three are the main ones. We have a ton of other ones as well. But in general, those three kind of crush it for us. And I would even say Monday and Slack alone is a game changer. So we grew into it, remember, though, as you're starting an online business or you're starting a business, you don't need any of that stuff. Like use email, seriously, save your money. But as you start growing a team and stuff, you want to start making sure everyone's kind of like corralled under the same kind of like virtual roof, and Slack and Monday do a really good job at doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And I think it really simplifies down that what it takes to actually run a company which does multi-8 figures in sales, guys. So all you need is a simple project management software with a communication software. So no excuses. So let's get to the next question, Blake. We would love to know, I mean, I know you for a fact, like you travel a lot and you have fun, but you know, do you kind of have any routines? Like, how does that look like?
I have zero routine, unfortunately. I don't even know if that's unfortunate. I think there's some lure and magic in that. But I do have habits, right? Like I wake up, I get dressed, take a shower like a normal human being, come to the office and just start working. In terms of like, do I like meditate and take cold showers and all that stuff? No, that's not my cup of tea. I don't believe in that stuff to have success. Will it make you feel better and more energized? Sure, absolutely. And to each his own. If you want to do it, have fun. But it's not why you're successful, right? Like having a daily routine, it helps organize people that could be a little more disorganized if they didn't have it. And that's not like a cut down or anything, right? Because I tried the daily routine, it just didn't work. But it's very simple. I operate like a normal person. I get out of bed, I do what you do in the morning, and then I come to the office and just start grinding out stuff. And that's what works for me. So I think at the end of the day, there's never a right or wrong answer. It's just what works for you. Like if I was completely disorganized and found I was getting in productivity like valleys, right, where I'm not getting much done, I would probably organize a routine to keep myself in check. You know, if meditation helps you, if you're a little more stressed and you want to clear your mind, meditate 100%. If you want a little more energy in the morning, take a freezing cold shower. It's going to help. There's a lot of health benefits to all this stuff. Do a daily fast, right? Whatever it might be. I think, but when it comes down to it, if I think there's a lot of myth based around in order to be successful, or all of the successful people do the daily routine stuff. That's a complete lie. It's not true at all. You don't have to read a book every 3 days like they swear every CEO does. That ain't true either. Sorry, that's not true. CEOs don't have enough time in their year to read a book every 3 or 4 days. But do the things that you think you need to be doing at that time to learn a new skill set. Whether it's a daily routine or reading more, whatever it might be, do the things that you personally think you need to do to better yourself and better your business, right? There is no one size fits all. It doesn't exist. You kind of have to create a hybrid out of all the different things, and whatever works best for you might not work best for someone else, and that's okay, and vice versa. Just do what you think you need to be doing to grow yourself and grow your business.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. Thank you so much. I think that was an absolutely perfect answer. And I believe this is gonna, get a very clear clarity on how everyone should look at their own routines and kind of habits they need to maintain. So Blake, if there is an opportunity to talk to a 20-year-old you or someone who's just getting started in business, what will be your number one suggestion for them?
That's a great question. So look, you're young, right? I would love to say you got time, right? Which theoretically you do. You're a lot younger, you're 20, you're just getting going. But understand that time is finite and it runs out. So my biggest suggestion to someone that's a 20-year-old is, first thing you want to do is try and solve a massive problem that really can solve try and solve a massive problem for a massive amount of people. I think a lot of times people focus on really small ideas, right? And it might make you a little bit of coin in the beginning, but then you start hitting this like ceiling very quickly and you wonder why your business isn't growing. Most of the time when I hear people in this space, like my business can't grow, it's because you really don't have a big enough idea. And that's something it's hard to teach, right? Like most people just really don't have that good of ideas, right? And that's what it comes down to. But if you can take some time to really learn a market and understand a market and see what people are struggling with, go all in on a really big idea that kind of scares you, where even if you don't know anything about it, right? Because those are the ideas that kind of like change, entrepreneurship and human history. It's those ideas that I think you can wake up every day and feel fulfilled about. So if you're 20 and you're trying to start a business and you're just getting going or whatever it might be, I would hardcore focus on something that delays gratification, because at the end, it's something that can outlive you and create a legacy, and be something bigger than you. So that's what I would do. Focus on something really big and scary and delay that gratification.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. Thank you so much. That was an amazing piece of advice, by the way. So let's get to the next question, brother. Your life's biggest achievement so far and any next bigger goals?
Life's biggest achievement so far. Wow. Probably hitting 8 figures in a year was a big achievement. That was awesome. I also did just get engaged, which is a personal achievement. I would suppose that would count.
Congrats on that.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So personal, that business, being able to hit 8 figures, right, in a year was a huge achievement. Bigger goal next is thinking bigger. What's the next big thing that scares us again? And focusing on doing something that is so crazy, people start calling you crazy. And I think that's kind of the next big move down the line is always leveling up, right? You always want to keep challenging yourself. You always want to keep leveling up. You always want to play bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's always about jumping to the next lily pad that's a little bigger, that might be a little sketchier or riskier, but also has a bigger ROI and a bigger impact on people. So next big goal is just to keep thinking bigger and keep pursuing ideas and visions that scare us.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And that reminded me the fact that you started these crazy award-breaking movements, which actually kind of blown up for a lot of people. Yeah, that was really funny. Absolutely. Let's get to the next question, brother. This would be fun to answer. So what was the biggest mistake, especially in terms of business so far?
Biggest mistakes in business, I would probably say it's probably what most people make in the beginning. It's pursuing ideas that you really, you don't know what it would really take to fulfill on per se. But probably product market fit. It was pursuing things that really just, it didn't have a fit. Like it was like Segway. It was really good ideas, but the market might not have been ready for them. So probably pursuing a bunch of different ideas. And then I would say hopping around from idea to idea, right? Like having like so many shiny objects, and every time I'd see a different style of butterfly, I'd want to chase it, and when you're doing that, when you're not focused, right? It might not cost you money. It could cost you resources, but the most important thing it's going to cost you is time. Because you're jumping around from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, hoping something takes off. Because that's when people have shiny objects, what they're basically saying, right, is the thing I'm doing isn't working that well. So I'm going to jump to this next thing, hoping that takes off. And then when that doesn't work that well, I'm going to jump to the next thing. That's what shiny object syndrome really means. If you ask someone about it, right? If someone says, I have shiny object syndrome, what they're really saying is what I'm doing right now isn't really doing that well, and I need to jump ship to something else. And I think I made that mistake a lot in the beginning, was jumping from ship to ship because nothing was really working. So you fail to look at yourself in the mirror objectively and point yourself and say the reason it's not working is you. You want to blame that it was the thing you tried, and that was the issue. So the biggest mistake would be lack of focus on something that didn't necessarily give you instant gratification, but it could be something that could be massive in the future if you just stick with it.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through this phase of jumping on shiny objects. Absolutely. So let's get to the next question, brother. Your main inspiration for the success and key people involved in your journey.
Main inspiration for success. Gosh, I would love to say legacy, but that's not it, because, once I'm dead, I don't even know if I had a legacy. Neither does anyone else. So I used to think legacy was important, and now I don't know so much anymore. I would say the main inspiration would be just to, I know what it was like to be dead broke and not really have direction on where I want to take things. And when I made my first sale ever in my life, it completely transformed probably who I was and what I was capable of doing. And I think by giving people that same feeling and that same kind of reward, can change their life the way it's changed mine and it's changed our team. And I think that's key. Is I think the main inspiration is constantly giving people the feeling I had in the situation I was in, knowing that if I can show them the light, it can completely transform their life. And everyone involved in that. My business partner, Ace, he's definitely a key person involved. Him and I have been doing business together from day one, from way back in college. We've been crushing it together as partners, helping, make an impact and make a dent in the universe. And then obviously we have a great team, Sean, we got, Sean and Darren and Kay, and we got a bunch of people, and Miguel and Cyrus and all these amazing people, right, who we work with on day in and day outs. They're the reason, if I'm leaving any names out, I apologize. But they're all the reason that we're able to do this, because business is you're never self-made, right? You're multi-made, and you have a bunch of people that, assist into the success. It's never one person or one idea or one thing. It's a coalition. It's a group of individuals that strongly believe in the same idea, pushing forward and doing everything in their power to move that needle. That's what creates a successful business. But it's never done by just one person. So yeah, I would say all those things combined, is the reason we do what we do and why we do it.
Absolutely, Blake. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think Ace is amazing dude, actually. So pretty exciting stuff, brother. So like Blake, like you've been killing it. You've been inspiring thousands of entrepreneurs to start and scale their own online business, launch their funnels. So we would love to hear, like, where can our audience find you mentoring if they need more help?
Yeah. So you can go, we have a Facebook group, completely free. It's just a cool group to be in. It's called the Freedom Fighters. Launch your first $1 million sales funnel. It's a really amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs. I think we're about 11,000, a little over 11,000 now in that group. But it's just an awesome community. If you're brand new and you want to learn what is this inner marketing stuff the way that I had no idea what it was, it's a great group to join. If you've been around the block and you're a veteran of the space and you just want to learn unique strategies to grow your business, it's also a great group as well. So we teach a lot about funnels and sales, messaging and offers and all the good stuff you really need to find a way to generate an income using the power behind the internet.
Absolutely, Blake. And guys, I'm personally in that group. This group is fire completely. Like, you'll be seeing people popping in and talking about success and the kind of way they're achieving it. So it's a very good community. So make sure to join. I'm going to be adding the link in the description of this podcast episode. And Blake, what an amazing podcast session today. Really enjoyed the time with you today. Any last word before we conclude the podcast session for today?
Yeah, I mean, first off, thanks for having me. Pleasure's always mine to be here. It's always, humbling to be able to, be on the show and be on the podcast. I appreciate it. To anyone watching, look, if things aren't going your way, because I know how it is, right? The majority of people are always trying to find ways to find success. And unfortunately, the majority is not kind of, it's the minority that seem to find their way, right? And I was there, so I understand. So if you're feeling any pains of starting a business and you don't know where to look or pains of growing a business, the best advice I'd give is just hang in there, right? The most successful people on this planet are the ones that just never gave up. And I'm not saying you're going to figure out what to do next, but I am saying you're going to figure out what not to do. And if you figure out what not to do enough times, you're going to find the recipe for success. So keep following your dreams, keep working hard, stay dedicated, right? Live a life of true fulfillment. And whatever it is that makes you happy, right? Whether it's waking up every day and doing nothing, or waking up and seeing your loved ones, or building a business of your dreams, just stick with it. And if you stick with it long enough, you're going to become better at it. If you become better at it, you're going to find a way to make it work the same way that we were able to do it. So stick with it, work hard, stay dedicated. And I promise you, you will find a way to have success with whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Other than that, really appreciate you having me. It was awesome to be on the show.
Absolutely, Blake. Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, that was a golden advice in the end, guys. So make sure to launch imperfectly and stay consistent on what you're working on. And again, once again, Blake, thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. It was really great having you on, and it was absolute pleasure with the value you've actually delivered in the show to your state, and actually the massive impact you are creating with the freedom fighters movement. We really love that. And guys, hopefully who actually watched the podcast so far, make sure to join the free Facebook group Freedom Fighters, launch your first $1 million funnel. That's an amazing community to be in. And if you need any more help, make sure to join the group and post in the group, and you will definitely have good people replying back. And stay tuned for the next interviews, guys. I'm going to be coming back with another amazing Two Comma Club Award winner. This is me, Nikhil Sai, and Blake Nubar signing off for today. Peace out.
Thank you.